Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the 19th hole. We are live on In Between Media. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the whole damn channel, and jiggle that bell for notifications. We have reached a really nice, tough 2-week stretch on the PGA Tour calendar. This week we have the Memorial Tournament at Jack's Place, Muirfield Village in Dublin, Ohio. This is a brutally tough golf course if you're not on your game, but it does give you chances if you're on your game. We're going to see some carnage. We're going to see some good scoring. We're going to see the best in the world duke it out on a great golf course designed and curated by the Golden Bear himself. Let's not look too close at next week, Pinehurst number 2 for the U.S. Open. I know it's exciting, but we must refrain. With a little pitter-patter, let's get at her. Welcome to the damn show, everybody. We got shit to do. Conor Coughlin's right there. I, of course, am Bo McBrayer. We got the Memorial. Conor, how you feeling, buddy?
Good, man. I'm ready to get in the win column. It's been a tough couple weeks.
It's been what? How do you spell drought in Old English? Draft. It's been a draft.
Yeah.
Last week was early. It was over early, which kind of put you out of your misery. I ended up with a 6-for-6 lineup, and with your 3-for-6 lineup, it was all sewed up by Friday evening. I didn't send any trash talk. To my credit, I'm usually a really big trash talker, even if it's really close and I know it's going to go either way. And for some reason, I refrained from doing that because I remember last time I did that, it started a really long winning streak for you last year. So let's keep the karma positive here. I don't need any help losing to you in the future.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that for 2 weeks in a row, I've had these lineups going in where I'm like, man, I'm stacked
so
up.
Good.
I got all the guys I want. And then you get these performances from like Thigala. I was like, oh, this is so good.
You had me convinced on Thigala so much so that he cost me like $500. Dick.
And then
why'd you have to talk me into that? Because I was steadfast, had him as a huge fade in DFS because he was chalky. I didn't think he'd be good off the tee. He was awful off the tee, which, I mean, but he was part of a top 10/top 20 parlay on Underdog. Then guess who? The only person who didn't fall in the top 10 or top 20 was.
Yeah, guess who else had one of those on Underdog who also had the same fate.
Although the Canadian Open was fruitful for me. I had 4 guys in the top 10, and I ended up cashing a top 20 parlay with Bobby Mack himself. Shout out to Robert McIntyre and his dad, Dougie. He's a grass cutter from Oban, Scotland, the sacred ground. I mean, how about Dougie and Robert going around that course like masters? Like Bobby Mack's hot right now, and he cashed the top 20 parlay with him and our guy Chandler Phillips. It was just like Mack was 80-1 overall, so I think he was plus 400, plus 450 to hit top 20 by himself. Chandler Phillips plus 600 for top 20. I just matched them both up. I thought Bobby Mack obviously was the safer choice. That's my get in. But if I was right about Phillips, that was a cash and it was plus 1,200. That was a big win for me. And then all those top 10 placements, even if some of them chopped with the tie, it was nice. It was a really nice, profitable week, even though I didn't have an outright bet on the guy who won the thing.
Well, I'm glad that you had a nice week.
It was stupendous. I swept all the DFS tournaments. I had all the best lineups. I had all the winning bets. Conor, you got to join me. It's fun when you win.
I have no words for you today, sir. None.
I saved all the trash talk for after it was official.
It's yeah, I mean it's not a fun place to be. And
unrelated, What are you drinking? Just a sidebar.
I'm into the Irish tonight.
Teeling. All right. So you're so anti-Scott that you went Irish.
I mean, I don't know that I'd say I'm anti-Scott as much as I'm fully Irish this week.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Oh, we got a Facebook comment from Austin David. Victor's going back to back. I don't hate that pick. We're gonna talk about that for sure. Because Victor Hovland, I think he woke up getting Coach Mayo back.
It's a good start. We'll say
Shout
that
out to our guy Calgary, Alberta, Royal Slade in the house. And of course we have Ostradamus joining us. We are far from gentlemen. Yeah, so I guess gents is okay. It's fine. It's not accurate, but it's nice. Thanks for the honor, Ostradamus.
Degents,
yeah, degenerate.
Well done, sir. I couldn't have spit that out. I don't think.
We have my drink of choice. A little backstory. I probably won't ever leave Northern California, and
What?
it's hard to believe. Newsflash, buddy. I love Northern California. Despite out of control cost of living, it is just untenable cost of living here. It's disgusting. Today it's 103 degrees with a 30-mile-an-hour hot north dry wind. And it's literally a blow dryer in the face when you're outside. Terrible. It's like basically Las Vegas. However, I was at the grocery store a couple weeks ago buying stuff for cooking. That's what I do. And I heard this voice from my peripherals, very nice, friendly voice. And it was a woman saying, "Sir, would you like to try some bourbon?" And I said, "Who's that, God?" And it was this young lady who is sampling a new bourbon that is kind of new on the scene. They are from Bardstown, Kentucky. It's Ammunition Distillery. And they have a bourbon out that is a straight bourbon whiskey finished in Cabernet Sauvignon barrels here in Sonoma, up in NorCal.
Just over here knocking my mic over.
That's fine. So I tried this whiskey. It's only $39.99 for a bottle. I was like, that's a good deal. And she asked me a couple questions. Of course, she's trying to sell the whiskey, but she also wants me to try and give her notes. I gave her the most detailed notes that she's ever heard about this one sip of whiskey that I got. I did the Kentucky Chew. I did the whole 9, just purely because I'm a snobby little turd. But
I was going to say, meanwhile, you had a line of people behind you. Like, look at this.
No, I did not. That was the best part. Is I'm in a grocery store in Northern California, and not only can I sample bourbon, she didn't even card me, which kind of insulting. I forget her name, but she didn't even card me, which she was supposed to. She was supposed to card me for this. And I tried the bourbon. I switched it around, chewed it up. Really good. For a $40 bottle, I told her that this would probably end up being a $50 or $60 bottle because of it was just good. So I bought the bottle. She talked me into it. Really hard sell. $39.99. I'm breaking it open right here on the show. Shout out NorCal.
Oh, you want me to put that one back up? I can do that. Look at boom.
Yeah, Ostradamus. That's my guy.
Did you see Royal finally hit 70 degrees in Canada?
Yeah, it got down to 70 last night. Oh, we got ourselves a first Glencairn pour. This is a little bit more of a pour than I got at the grocery store. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and that was probably in a Dixie cup.
It was in one of those little thimble plastic cups, but it was compostable because, that's how we roll here.
I mean, it's California.
We don't do paper straws anymore, thank God. Ours are like the microfiber plastic straws, but they break down. They don't kill the sea turtles and stuff. Just as I remember. It's so delicious. For $40, get yourself some Ammunition bourbon.
Yeah, I remember when we did a series for a while where it was like the best bottle we could find under like $40.
Oh, this is on the list for sure.
Yeah, that was.
I never even heard of it until I got the sample.
We might have to fire that back up. There's a lot of unsung heroes of the whiskey and bourbon world.
For sure, especially these days. There will be no. But she got some sweet ass DFS picks for the memorial. Yeah.
There won't even be that for me. Just total consciousness on my deathbed.
Yeah. Gunga.
Llama.
Gunga Galunga.
Big hitter, the llama.
He was going to stiff me. I got that going for me.
Cinderella boy.
All right, let's move on. We got shit to do. You ready for the caddy notes after the drop, Connor?
I can hardly wait.
Jack's place.
It's time to get it right.
All right, so all I know about this place is it's tough if you suck, it's good if you're good, and Jack is the boss. The Golden Bear. Dublin, Ohio, Muirfield Village, named it after his first major win at Muirfield over there in Scotland, the sacred ground.
I still like that accent better than most of yours. You break it out every now and then.
Well, I mean, it's in my blood.
You're like 80% of every every ethnicity on the planet. I swear to God.
I have so much mutt going on here that you're probably right.
That is a jam. I'm just saying that our little segue.
Costco tequila. Yes.
There's an unsung hero.
There's actually so many more varieties now of Costco tequila. Kirkland's got like 5 different tequila varieties out right now, ranging from your simple giganto 1.75 liter handle of the silver vodka or silver tequila all the way up to the really nice aged añejo. We got variety.
I believe our Cinco de Mayo show you were drinking the Blanco.
I was, yeah. Yep. That bottle is gone.
You don't say.
I mix all my margaritas with the silver because it's like $17 for a handle.
Our fearless leader has arrived.
Thumbs up. This one and that one. Log into your housekeeper's account if you have one. If you have a separate Google account that you use as a burner for social media, log in to YouTube with that, like it with that, subscribe to this channel with all your accounts, even the ones you don't want your family to know about. We care about subscriptions.
We got some good football shorts, some good NASCAR shorts, a whole bunch of content last week. So go check out.
They're called trousers in most of the world.
I don't. I see. Cargo trousers. We have cargo trousers. Yeah. All right, let's get into it. Memorial Tournament presented by Workday, Muirfield Village, Dublin, Ohio. It is a par 72, 7,569 yards, bent fairways, bent greens, got kind of a POA rough overseeded with some bluegrass. Signature event with 70 players, top 50 in ties will make the weekend. Muirfield is super difficult, plays as one of the top 5 toughest courses on tour year on year. Demands a ton of accuracy, both off the tee and on approach. Fairways are once again tree lined. They are a smidge wider than some of the previous weeks. However, there's been some renovations here to give a few more like narrowing corridors as you get farther distance. So
here's what they did. Pinch points. At 320 yards, they pinch.
How do I pinch your head from here?
Like a grape.
They're definitely a little wider still, but they have been tapered in quite a bit. Bunkers have been moved to force some layups. Speaking of bunkers, I think there's 70 plus in play still here. So they're everywhere. The rough is actually some of the deepest and most penalizing that they're going to see.
How deep is
outside.
it?
It's deep.
Deep.
Again, so many things I want to say to you. It's deeper than anything they're going to see outside of majors, really. And that's pretty much typical every single year. Greens are super small, again, surrounded by bunkers. I think we're dealing with sub 5,000 square feet as the average complex.
Stimp is 14.
Lightning quick. However, some early reports say that some of this grass and some of the renovations to the greens have kind of mellowed out a little bit. And so not quite as quick.
I don't believe it.
Around the green and scrambling is super important this week. They're going to miss the greens. They're going to be in bunkers. So you need guys that are accurate, but also possess skills to get up and down. And on top of all of this fun, water is in play on 70% of the holes. So
that's a lot.
Pretty much everywhere you look, there's a good chance you can get yourself in some trouble here.
Here's how you win Jack's tournament. You have to play really good golf for 72 holes.
And you have to be really good at all parts of golf.
Yeah. If you have anything that's kind of right now, you're going to get exposed this week.
The only thing I would say to that is one of the lesser corollaries is actually putting here, which I was kind of surprised given how difficult the greens are. So if you're going to gamble on not the complete package, it's probably putting is what I would sacrifice as I'm looking at a player profile. But even that, you want guys that are at least flat.
Yeah, and I put it in my model.
So did I.
I did it bent grass specific, lightning fast specific, just so I could narrow it down a little bit. Because some of these guys putt really well on bent, and some guys have no clue what they're doing on bent grass. And it's a unique surface. It really is. For putting, you're going to get a lot of true putts that go exactly where they're supposed to do. You're not going to see any bumps like on Poana or Bermuda. You're going to see the truest rolling greens. But if you were off by a smidge on your read, or off the pace, or if you just don't strike it in the middle of the putter face, you are absolutely screwed on these greens because they are fast and they will give you fits. And I love that there's carnage this week. However, this course does allow for some scoring. And I noticed you said you didn't mention par 5 scoring, which was extremely heavily weighted in my model because there's only like 4 or 5 scoring holes and all of them are par 5s.
Yeah, it's definitely in my model as well. The interesting thing about the par 5 scoring, though, is that they're also the least birdie percentage of the par 5s in play was 25% of the field last season. So
it's not easy.
it's not easy, but I will say this: when you look at a field of 70 people, 25% of that field is birdie or bettering the par 5s. One of them goes all the way up to 40% birdie rate. So I think that they're gettable. Par 5 scoring is definitely in my model, but it's definitely not as heavily weighted as like the overall tee to green and some of the approach metrics.
And scrambling and bogey avoidance.
Yep, 100%.
All right. Well, with all that being said, we got to bet on this thing. You would think so, but I don't think so.
Steve and I might be a little more aligned than you and I, because I'm a little bit of team sort of no putt this week.
Well, I have a response for that, but it'll come after this wonderful drop with Brad, Chad, and Thad.
Let's go.
All right, let's get this right out of the way. Betting favorite is some guy named Scottie Scheffler.
Heard he's good.
Plus 360 by most books. We're using DraftKings Sportsbook because it's right there in front of my face. And not a sponsor yet. Have your people call our people DraftKings. Just saying.
We take a couple of promo codes for our use too, because I need some money back.
I'm actually completely out on Scottie this week. Is that stupid?
I don't know if I'd say it's stupid on the betting side. I think it's stupid on the DFS side.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I'm not full fading Scottie in DFS. He averages 112 fantasy points a week.
I think the scary thing about Scottie is just some of the kind of sporadic play off the tee from time to time, especially getting out in that 290, 310 range on a lot of these holes. And then you look at his overall proximity stats from 175 to 200 plus, and it's like his weakest approach distance. So,
yep.
I like I said, betting him, especially at that number, absolutely not. But
that's the thing is, I'm not saying that Scottie Scheffler can't win this tournament. He absolutely can.
100%.
Betting him at his current number is just dumb. And even the live bet strategy that we've carried most of the season, it doesn't really pan out for me here because he ranks 12th in my model. And there's a lot of other front runner guys with short odds that are way above him in all these stats I'm looking at. When you measure for longer golf courses, especially with bent grass greens, especially when the penalty for missing the fairway is so drastic here, Scottie Scheffler's off the tee game's been a little squirrely. I think he's 33rd in this field of 73 in strokes gained off the tee in this parameters that I ran it for, which are exact parameters of what we're dealing with this week. Scottie Scheffler for me can absolutely win this tournament. I'll tip my cap to him. Just say, dude's one of the GOATs already. It's insane. But for my money, I'm betting on a guy at the top here who has everything in the bag.
Irish?
Right? Yes.
Is he Irish?
How did you know that I was going to talk about Rory McIlroy from Hollywood, Northern Ireland next?
Because I absolutely adore him this week as well.
Oh, but I thought we were going to disagree a bunch. So Rory at 9-1 in this field. I have no clue how anybody's betting a lot of long shots this week, because I don't think any of them have a prayer in this format, this golf course with this strong of a field at the top. I don't think anybody outside of 100-1 is going to make the top 20 in this tournament. I really don't.
No, and historically, when you look at it, it's guys. I mean, this is more of a cream of the crop type of tournament.
It sure is. And it's loaded at the top.
And you look at even like the runner-ups and the playoffs and everything. It's always like big name dudes. This is probably not going to be one of those. I know we're kind of in long shot season, but I don't.
Tiger won here 5 times.
I'm with you. I just don't see it.
Cantlay's getting a soft line. I like his line, even though he's playing terribly this year. He's won here twice. He's been in contention here just about every year. But Rory, for me, is just so hot right now. And his advantage off the tee here with distance and accuracy, with how good he's been on mid to long approach this year, and his putting and chipping have been immaculate. This guy's scrambling game is second in this field. That's going to be huge here. Rory isn't going to hit all those greens, but he's going to get more birdie opportunities than the rest of the field because of his tee to green game. But if he's off the green, he's been nails at saving par, scrambling, getting up and down, making tough pars. That's the unsung part of his game this year that's caused him to be so successful, at least the last month. I think Rory blows this field away. As long as he gets off to a decent start on Thursday, I think Rory laps the field here.
100% on board with you. I wrote him up as my favorite bet of the week too, and
you're so smart, Connor.
Every now and then, I let you lead in because people that watch this show know that I'm a huge fan of Rory. So sometimes it comes off as being a little biased.
I never even realized that until you just said it.
but realistically, like when you look at what he's done over the last 24, not to mention that he's got a win. He's number 3 in the field from the longer proximity distances, like you hit on. He's also in the top 10 for literally every other scoring metric I looked at. He's number 1 in this field from overall tee to green, which is the highest correlated stat to success in Muirfield.
It seems good.
It's not bad. And then the only concern I have with him is that he's not great out of the sand. He rates out 46th in sand save percentage over the last 24 rounds. So your hope is that when he misses, he's missing into some of the runoff, into the rough. You really don't want Rory having to hit a whole lot of sand shots, especially bunker side.
Especially not here.
Or green side, rather. Yeah, so.
All right. Who's your next guy in?
My next one is Justin Thomas.
Oh, wow, you dropped down. I'm going to throw out another Viktor Hovland reference, defending champ of this event. I know that a lot of people are going to agree with me here. I don't care. It's not a contrarian pick, but 18-1 for a guy who just got into a groove at the last major, the PGA Championship. We saw Viktor Hovland back on his prime tee to green form. This guy is nails when he's on, and he's locked in. Coach Mayo's back and on the payroll. And we're talking about a guy who is just as good as Rory and all those guys when he's cooking. We saw that last year in the FedEx Cup. He crushed everybody when he was on his game. And that's the version of Viktor that I saw at the PGA a couple weeks ago. I think 18-1 is a misprice, and another misprice on a guy that's a horse for this course, Patrick Cantlay, 25-1. It's, again, I don't love Cantlay this year because he's playing so poorly, but that all-around game that you need to play well here has been Patrick Cantlay. Even when he's scuffled in years past, he's come to Muirfield Village and played well because he just doesn't have any weak spots in his game. He's a Alexander. They're best buds. They're really boring, but they're good at everything. And I think 25 to 1 is just way too long for a guy of that caliber. Victor, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, here's my thing with Victor. I think he's going to show up and play well this week. I like that
he's the defending champion, Connor.
Yeah, but the concern I've got for him is that there is a lot of up and down to be had here, and this season in particular,
he's reverted back to
he's like Victor. 60th or worse in every around the green and scrambling stat. And now, granted, I know we got the old coach back with him, a little more short game focused, but I need to give that a week or two, I think, before I'm throwing outright bets around at Vic. And so I'll gladly be out on the outright. And Cantlay's kind of a similar situation, to be honest. Like if you look at the accuracy metrics over the last 24 rounds, he's just all over the place. And so
hot and cold. He's been really good and then really bad, and then really good and then really bad. And
I can't get there with those two. I understand horse for the course mentality. I get it, but
and soft odds, Connor. That's what I'm getting at here. Smart gambling, huh?
I don't know if 18 to 1 is truly soft for Victor, given what he's been doing.
Incredibly soft.
I don't know, man. We're probably not going to see eye to eye on those two. I think
fine.
Of course,
JT is at 30. Is that where he's at?
Yeah, JT's at 30. And what's interesting about JT is, you know how high I was on JT coming into the season,
like Snoop Dogg high.
Yeah, like
like Wiz Khalifa high.
Yeah, like
this rant is too damn high.
Like a concert at Red Rocks. So true. But what's crazy is he's actually bringing it together. If you look at the last three tournaments, 5th at RBC Heritage, 21st at Wells Fargo, 8th at PGA Championship, and then you look at his statistics on what he was able to do at those tournaments, the PGA Championship, he gained 13.6 strokes tee to green.
Oh.
Yeah. And if he hadn't lost 3.5 strokes putting, he would have run away with the PGA Championship.
And his putting was good. He just didn't make anything. Everything burned the edge, so you knew he was close. Number 2 in my model, Justin Thomas.
5.2 strokes gained around the green at the PGA Championship. Also,
number 1 in birdies or better gain. Number 2 from tee to green. Number 4 in driving distance. JT's got some pop. Number 6 in the pro bucket.
In the bag this week too.
Number 3 around the green. Yeah, he's got the package. Number 1, I'm not even betting, but he's a DFS guy for me. Another horse for the course. I don't really want to talk about him here though, so tease that. Fire up Jordan Spieth. I'm saying that with a low voice because Jordan Spieth is exactly what it takes to grind it out, and been better on approach than when he started the season. And off the tee, he's 34th, which I thought he'd be much worse.
Me too.
I thought it would be 55th or 65th, but 34th, so middle of the pack off the tee, not terrible. Outstanding birdie maker, outstanding at avoiding bogeys, the best scrambler on the planet. Jordan Spieth for me is a big sleeper at his odds. 50 to 1 for Jordan Spieth. 50 to 1 is that one got my one eyebrow way up here. Like when a puppy cocks his head because he's a little bit confused. 50 to 1 for that guy.
God love you. Good luck.
Yeah, I knew you were out on Jordan.
No, I like Burns at 45. I like Noren at 50, and I'm in love with Siwoo Kim at 50.
I figured that was going to happen. I'm up or down on Siwoo. He's been consistent this year, which is not his usual MO, but he hasn't really. Does he have any top 10s this year?
Siwoo?
Yeah.
Would you like to hear about Siwoo?
Tell me. I got to know why you're so high on Siwoo when he's just been a placement bet getter for us.
So Siwoo has a whole bunch of top 20s, a whole bunch of he's got a top 10 of the players where he finished 6th. But what's more interesting about Siwoo for me is I'm huge on tee to green this week. Mm-hmm. And if you look at Siwoo's overall tee to green in his last 20 starts, he's averaging 4 strokes per tournament, which doesn't sound like a lot, but that's over 20 tournaments. So 80 measured rounds. Like there's a ton of consistency there. Yep. And then when you look at the rest of his game, the approach is trailing right there. So Off the tee, he's been very consistent, surprisingly so for Siwoo to a point. And the around the green game actually over the last 8 starts has been pretty darn good too.
That is his strongest stat. Like, he's way down the list for me, but his strongest stats around the green, which is Siwoo around the green. Interesting.
And if you look at him too, like, he is textbook one of those tee to green guys that all we need is a flat putting week from him. Mm-hmm. If you look at like his last 7 starts, he hasn't broken even on the putting surface. I know that's not a good foreshadowing, but I do think that putting tends to figure in a little less to the winning equation here. And Siwoo is very good at avoiding bogeys, even with his shit putting. So I think that there's a lot of upside with Siwoo here, especially with the overall tee to green game. And in that range at the 50-1 mark, I think he's probably one of my favorite plays.
Well, I see your 50-1 Siwoo Kim, and I raised you a Will Zalatoris 65-1. Horse for the course. And I think we're looking for good iron players here, if I'm not mistaken. And Willie Z is pure with irons. Pure. Like Brooks Koepka, pure with the irons.
I don't think you can make that reference anymore.
He's still a good iron player. He just can't make a putt anymore. And that's, I mean, I really like Willie Z here. I think that he's in good form despite battling the back. He's looked good every week I've watched him, where he hasn't won yet, but you know it's coming, just like before he got hurt. It took a while for him to break through, but once he did, it was at a big tournament in a playoff. And I mean, Willie Z he's a beast. And I think that he's getting insulted at 65-1.
I mean, does the overall around the green game not concern you? I mean, I know he's coming back from injury and he's been kind of in and out, but I mean, 67th over the last 24 and around the green, 61st in sand saves, and 68th putting. And that's
I'm choosing to ignore that because his strongest putting surface is fast bent grass. So I'm gonna look past the bad chipping because it's been ugly. But I'm looking at other guys that are shorter than him who look even worse in those categories, like Collin Morikawa, who at first glance I'm like, oh, Collin Morikawa, he's been runner up here before, but man, around the greens, not good for Collin. So I'm looking at this as a great value for Willie Z, who around the green, 64th, scrambling 67th, everything you said here, but 7th in birdies are better gained. 18th in driving distance. He's got the length here. Even though he's usually top 10 distance wise, he's had to change his swing to be more compatible with his back. His iron game's still pure. His putting has been better. I think Willie Z is just mispriced. That's all.
Yeah, I can get behind the misprice. I'm still probably a wait and see with Willie Z a little bit longer, but I get where you're coming from. I can't fault you too much. It's a good price.
And I said it earlier, I don't think anybody 100-1 or deeper is going to win this tournament or even contend, but I'm going to throw Justin Rose out there, and I'll wait for our deep shot. But Justin Rose here is a horse for the course, great long iron player. We just played him at the PGA for the same reason, and he showed out. This guy's really talented still. He's not exciting because he doesn't make that many birdies anymore. I mean, Justin Rose is getting up there in age, but his firepower is more suited for these grinded out courses that demand good iron play. Justin Rose is a player here at 100-1. I just don't get it, especially with how well he's played here. I think he won here a few years ago, maybe 2018, something like that.
Yeah, I think at 100-1, it's worth a few bucks. I'm not a big Justin Rose truther, and in my adjusted model, he's 51st, so I'm not running to do it. But in the adjusted course fit model, he is 13th, and there's
7th. He's 7th for me.
So I think to the point, 100-1 is incredibly long for somebody who has good history and sets up really well here. So I think it's, again, you can do a lot dumber shit with $5
every time.
$500 payday. I'll take it on Justin Rose. Why not?
All right, so you got anybody in that kind of mid-high range?
Yeah, I have 2 that I'm looking at. I haven't sold myself into it yet. Tom Hoagie's got horrible history here, but he's got.
Obviously.
But he's
You
having.
mean I can't hit a sand wedge on every second shot here? Shit.
But he is having an otherworldly season for Tom Hoge, and the approach game has been really good. He's pretty accurate off the tee. He's very short.
How's his putting?
The putt. He's part of Team No Putt.
Yeah, I could tell.
But 80
I was just wondering how his putting was doing.
I mean, let's be honest though, 80-1 on Tom Hoge, who's actually been kind of hanging around all season. I mean, it's not a horrible number on a course that is more of a second shot course. That's a little more Tom Hoge's wheelhouse. The guy that I'm super interested in there is actually Christian Bezaden, who at 90-1. And you start to look at what he's been doing this year. And I know we were kind of hot on him early and we've kind of tapered off, but he keeps hanging around the top 20 in almost every tournament he tees it up in. He has had a little bit of directional concerns off the tee lately, but he rates out number 8 for me in the adjusted course fit. And if you look at all of his short game metrics, he's kind of ridiculous around the green and saving his ass.
He really is.
So he's number 11 in my model for strokes gained around the green. He's number 1 in sand save percentage. And both those things are going to come in super handy at this course. So I don't hate it. And then you couple that with a 5th ranked putter in the field on fast bent grass. I mean, he's got the short game to really hang around. So Seabass at 90-1 seems a little long for what he could do. All
right. I get it. And do you have any really deep shots? Because I have one that we both love.
I will let you do that one. I'm going back to our old friend Eric Cole this week.
The Cole train.
The Cole train is leaving the station.
Definitely team no putt.
This is going to be the bounce back week for Eric Cole. So,
friend of the show, Eric Cole.
250-1 on Eric Cole, who placed 24th in his first time out here last year. This is a course that really sets up nicely for what his game is. And he demonstrated that in his first time out last season. So Eric Cole is definitely a pinch your nose and hope. But
let's hope that his around the green putting and scrambling hold up with his 69th off the tee and 67th on approach.
It's really, really what's weird is if you expand the overall modeling on him, like if you get outside of that 24 range where he's really been struggling lately, that golfer is still in there. He's just in a bit of a down spot. So I'm going to try and be early on Eric Cole, because this is a guy that we were paying 80 or worse on consistently for about the last 12 months. So 250-1 on somebody who I know is an excellent golfer and can bounce back here. I think it's a pretty good deal.
I'm going to take the firepower at 250-1. The big siesta. Jake Knapp. It's so refreshing. Jake naps are the most refreshing naps, with his Freddie Couples swing and his Cameron Smith hair.
I cut mine off this week.
This guy looking dapper over there. It's over 68 degrees in Sioux Falls.
Yeah, get rid of the mane.
Well, shit, the sun came out for more than 20 minutes today.
I'll get a tan in the next week or two. But yeah, talk about Jake Knapp, because I do love him, and I think that's a bit of a misprice too on Jake Knapp. His iron game is awesome.
Yep, tee to green, baby, and his chipping and putting, not terrible. Streaky. And with his length, he's got a little bit of Rory in him, honestly. Obviously not the polish around the greens or putting in very tough clutch situations. Those aren't developed yet. He's still really young and pretty much a rookie on tour still. But he's got a lot of Rory in him, and that distance and accuracy off the tee, that approach game with his mid irons, I think he's got enough firepower where I'm going to take a couple bucks and light it on fire with him. And I'm thinking about going back to a top 20 parlay with one guy that's kind of safe and one guy that's a long shot like him, with him and Justin Rose doing a top 20 parlay, because you're going to get decent odds on each one of them individually, but together in a little 2-leg, it's going to be even more profitable, especially if Jake Knapp comes out there and starts making birdies. It's especially with what he does on par 5s. That's the big appeal, is Jake Knapp on par 5s is a destroyer of worlds. That's how good he is at scoring when he's in play. And that's what I'm hoping for. It is that long shot to really pay me more money. honey.
Mo money.
All right, you ready to do some DFS trunk slams? And
Yeah,
you're well practiced by now.
That's hilarious.
It's not untrue.
I can't.
The club is well. This would be a wrestling slam.
That's well timed.
You're such a fuck.
Guilty as charged. So Scottie Scheffler is approaching 40% rostership. How much are you willing to expose yourself to?
Ooh, them's prison words.
Hey, it's only 3 weeks you get in South Dakota where you can't expose yourself without frostbite.
That's not completely inaccurate. For a guy who's got 2/3 and a 22nd and is absolutely the best player on the planet right now at this course, I think at minimum I'll match the field. I could be approaching 50%. I just think that even if Scottie doesn't win, Scottie scores so many DK points. And
why is that? Because he's lethal on his irons. Lethal. We're talking not even close to proximity numbers are Scottie Scheffler and then like 4 tiers and then the next group of guys. Like Scottie Scheffler on approach is, I hope not. God, that would suck.
Chelsea did chime in with not inaccurate about South Dakota. So we got South Dakota folks in here.
Shout out. I think that you're right. It's Scottie Scheffler is so precise. He gives himself so many scoring chances where even if he's struggling, he's still tapping in for par. And that's the craziest part about his run is he's going to keep making birdies. Even if he has a bad hole where he makes a double, he's probably going to ring off 3 consecutive birdies to follow it up. Because pissed off Scottie is no less boring than normal Scottie, but he's just a little bit even better with a little edge to him. Now he's got his teardrop tattoos and some toilet wine. We're talking about a different Scott Scheffler. He's got the beard still. This is an assassin and a DFS assassin that it's chalk you eat every time. It's like Derrick Henry against the Texans for all those years. It's like he just knew that Derrick Henry's going to plow for 250 yards and 3 touchdowns against Houston. That's what he.
You be careful over there. That's my newly adopted AFC team.
Bandwagoner. I like the team too. They're pretty good.
Yeah, I was early on them for last year, but maybe a little too early. Anyways, yeah, I think Scheffler 40-50%. I think that's where it's at.
Rory's leverage.
Yeah, which is wild.
11-1 for Rory, and he's only coming at 17%. Hammer smash that 40% exposure on Rory. Whatever you're not starting with Scottie, you better bet your ass I'm starting it with Rory.
Yeah, and truthfully up there, like I don't know that I'm gonna do a whole lot of other plays besides Scottie and Rory. I mean, the way the pricing is set up,
yep.
I've got myself fairly well convinced that it's going to be one of those 2 guys that's going to be right there and probably winning.
What's the matter with Ludvig Aberg?
I just don't trust the knee. I like
it's bad.
I love the way he sets up here. And if you've got the stomach for it, I think it's
on
really
paper.
Good price.
On paper, Ludvig Aberg is incredible, but on the course, he's gimpy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I can do it here. Not with the top of this board. It's a
nasty.
It's a little more of a gamble than I want to do in DFS. If I was really sold, I'd go bet the outright on him.
Well, I'm just happy to see that my 2 guys in the 9s are both leverage. Cantlay and JT. Cantlay 10% projected and 12.6 projected for JT. Hammer smash. And as much as I really like Hideki, another horse for the course, sets up number 1 in my model. He's coming in at 13%, which for DFS scoring is a little high for me. I'll have some Hideki in the pool, absolutely. But for how much chalk he's getting as we get closer to lock, I'm going to be very happy playing Cantlay and JT for a little bit more money because I know there's value down below that we're going to cover.
Yeah, I'm probably I'm probably with you. I think it's, for me, above 9. It's Scottie, Rory, JT.
Yeah.
And that's I'm going to be pretty concentrated. I may try and find ways to stack 2 of them, which has not been working out great for me stacking top heavy, but
No, I mean, you should probably not do that anymore.
Shall we talk about the 8s?
He's doing the dice thing too much.
That's all he's got, man.
The 8s, Wyndham Clark is leverage. He's playing pretty poorly lately, so I think I'll skip him. Thigala's off the tee game last week. Woof. That was scary. We're talking mega shanks. He's still got a phenomenal short game. But
the guy broke his driver.
Yeah, he broke his driver, and before he broke it, he was hitting it like he broke it and was trying to hit with a broken driver. That's how bad he was off the tee. That's a really big yip to avoid at this place. So even leverage Sahith Theegala is probably a no-go here. Spieth and Homa have more upside as leverage picks. Sam Burns is leveraged. I mean, just name your guy in the 8s. It's a solid group. Chalky Corey Connors, thanks for the free fade. I appreciate it.
He'll be in the pool, but I'm not going to be. I don't know if I'm even going to be field heavy on him.
He's on the cusp of the pool for me. Like, he's got a star next to his name right now, but he's burning, like he's losing ground to other guys as I get closer to lock. Corey Connors' short game, not his putting. His putting's been flat lately. It's his chipping. His chipping is almost like 57th in this field in scrambling. That's not going to get it done here. His ball striking is good, but it's not good compared to Scottie Scheffler, Rory, Xander, Victor. All these guys are a class above Corey Connors, and they all have better short games than Corey Connors. So chalky Corey Connors for me is a free fade, and I'd be surprised if he finds very many lineups at all.
What do you think about Sam Burns?
Great leverage play. 8,300 is too cheap. 7.9 is his current rostership projection. That's green flag racing. Sam Burns fits this course really well. Great long iron player. A lot of the same guys who play the PGA are going to be viable here. It's not a similar golf course really, but it is going to be something that you pay attention to the same players who expertise is in the same yardage buckets and emphasis. Similar in both cases with Valhalla and here. So yeah, a lot of these same guys. Sam Burns, I was high on a couple of weeks ago. I'm not going to quit him now. He's a friend of the show. I mean, how about chalky Russell Henley? Good God.
Yeah, I'm going to be a pass on that. But
thank you for another free fade.
I will say I'm probably going to fire up some Alexander Noren, 8,100.
Hey, in DFS, I'm all for it. This guy's never won shit about anything. He's never won anything ever. He is the opportunities gained tanker that if you don't run that model for opportunities gained, Alex Noren's going to be in the top 5 every time. This course is not an opportunities gained course, fortunately for Alex Noren. So we fire him up. We get 76 to 82 points on DK. He's going to make the cut. It's almost a guarantee. And he's probably not going to crack the top 10. So your 26th place finish for Noren will get you 76 to 82 DK points. If you're looking for a 6 out of 6, like a single entry tournament or a cash game, like a head-to-head or a small group cash game, Noren's a fantastic DFS play.
And he doesn't have to be better than that at 8,100. I think that's the important thing to call out. Like last week when people were wanting to bet him because they thought he was maybe going to win, then he shits the bet on you. This week he's reasonably priced. To your point, there's no chance he misses the cut. Knock on wood because I said it.
The only ones that are going to miss the cut are going to be outside of 10 shots away from the leader. That's a pretty easy one to cross for most of these guys. You might get 1 or 2 or 3 guys cut. You might not get anybody cut if they're all within 10 shots after 2 rounds.
And then you got Ben On in there too that we glossed right over, and I really do kind of like Ben On for DFS purposes. Kind of a similar profile to like Siwoo, but can hit the ball a little farther. So, having an equally good season, 10.7%. He's not chalk yet, but 8,400. It's a nice pivot off of Corey Connors, who I just don't see it.
Yeah, that's easy fades all around. I'm high on Jason Day leverage. I'm going to eat a little bit of chalk at 11% with Denny McCarthy. He plays well here. Will Zalatoris leverage at 7,500. It's so good.
I'm with
So
you
good.
I'm with you. Obviously, even Siwoo at the percentage. Like I really love Siwoo. That's some chalk.
Yeah, that's really chalky.
That's
And
some chalk. But if you look at the guys around him, I feel like he's again 99% sure he makes the cut. Siwoo can score DK points.
Yeah.
Having a good season. I think I have more confidence in his scoring ability than I do Keegan or Jason Day. And I certainly don't think that we're going to be in that bad a spot with the Siwoo chalk, given how bad Tony Finau and Shane Lowry are. 7,900. They're both tracking at 15+% rostered, and I am a hard fade on both of them.
Suckers.
So
suckers everywhere.
I think in a way, Siwoo at 17% is probably not nearly as chalky as it feels at that percentage.
Shane Lowry and Tony Finau could do a 2-man scramble and still have 31 putts.
Well, and once you get the general public involved, the people that don't watch shows like this, like that
they know the names. Talk, yeah, they know the names.
Oh my god!
Like those are both very well-known names in the golf world that are not great plays.
That feels like a DraftKings trap all day to me. Like somebody priced it that way, and they're like, "Oh,
we love to see free
money coming in."
So I know you're on Hoagie and Bez. Any chance you get a little Jaeger bomb or a little Ricky Fowler who's making cuts these days?
I don't know. No, actually, at 7,000, I'd much rather play Lucas Glover. He follows my team no putt.
Absolutely.
Much better tee to green. He's actually got a solid around the green game too, which we've talked about before. He's just another dude. You need a flat putter. And then another friend of the show, right at 7K, who actually kind of makes some sense here is our good friend Kurt Kitayama.
Shout out NorCal.
We go find that comment and repost it.
Yeah, Kurt Kitayama is a great play here. 8.6% projected rostership. I'll throw in 10-15% because he's solid. Justin Rose is here at 6,900. Nice. Akshay's getting a little less love than usual. That's because it's a long iron golf course. Short iron golf course, play Akshay. Long iron golf course, don't play Akshay.
Yeah, I got no interest in Akshay here.
And then Dietrich's been looking solid on these types of courses, but Belgians. No offense.
Sound logic. I can't fault you.
Any deep shots at all? I mean, I don't like any of these guys down here. I don't think I'm going to want to be down here very often, but Jake Knapp, Nick Dunlap, those two guys are just cheap and nobody's going to have them really.
I actually have some decent ones down here that I think are going a little overlooked.
Enlighten us, please. I need more players.
My first one's Taylor Moore, who actually has been playing pretty good golf. Good par 5 scorer, good sand save percentage.
Isn't that a brand of paint?
That's Benjamin Moore.
Okay, yeah.
Button. Strokes gained par 5, though. Taylor Moore's 11th in the field. Sand save percentage 11th in the field. 10th in the field for strokes gained around the green. The concerning parts, obviously, he's not great off the tee. But again,
seems important.
Yeah, I think, but he's been able to get stuff done in spite of it. So Taylor Moore at 6,800, I think, is another dude that can score DK points, will make the cut.
True.
Victor Perez off of a pretty hot week last week.
That 64 on Sunday got him out of nowhere. Le Fonce.
Surprisingly, though, if you look at the last 24, he's another guy that has a really pretty solid par 5 game, good long approach, hits a lot of greens in regulation, so you don't even have to worry about him getting up and down, but it turns out he's pretty good at it when he does. And he was actually 16th in my model, so 6,800 Victor Perez I don't hate.
Le Francois.
Austin Eckroat, 6,700, actually is number 1 in this field for approach from 175 to 200. And also is very accurate off the tee and 20th in this field for opportunities gained, which actually was surprising for a guy down in the 6s. So then Lee Hodges is another guy down here that I have a lot of interest in. Number 6 in the field in sand saves, 11th in fairways gained, 19th in overall strokes gained approach over the last
17% owned.
There's a reason for that.
Ooh, Jesus.
If you look at his stats, though, man, I mean, he's having a really good season.
He's
good
having
putting,
a great year.
good
We've been
approach.
riding him in DFS as a great value pick all year. You heard it here many times to play Lee Hodges, especially when he's cheap, and he's just a really accurate, consistent player. A really solid all-around game, not getting any attention. And he's finally getting some flowers here, which gives me pause on getting a bunch of them involved here in DFS, but I still have him.
Yeah, I think that you can eat some chalk down here. Most of these guys down here that I just named have a better than average chance of being in the top 50 and making the cut. Like, these are real players that are just priced here because of how top heavy this field is. So
true.
And then Seamus Power at 6,300 is the last one that I would call out. Again, just been playing good, accurate golf the last 24. He's number 8 in the field.
Team no drive.
Team no drive, but surprisingly, he's 18th in this field for fairways gain percentage, 17th for greens and regulation, and 15th sand save, 8th in overall approach.
Putter. Outstanding putter too.
Yeah, so his putter's actually been failing in the last 24. He rates out damn near the bottom, but that's not necessarily typical.
That's coming back. It's regression candidate right there.
So I just gave you a shitload of sub-7 plays that actually are real people that could really score for you.
Throw all the kids in the pool.
I got 33 in mine right now.
That's more than me for once. I believe I'm at 24. Yeah, 24. All right. Who's going to win and what score?
I'm going to go Rory McIlroy at 13 under.
I'm going to go Rory McIlroy at 11 under.
First round leader.
Sam Burns.
I'll do something different. Siwoo can get a hot hand and come out.
He definitely can. All right. The hat. We need a hat drop theme song.
All right, the hat has chosen number 6.
Oh, okay. That's a good number.
Ludvig Aberg.
Oh, man. Dodged a bullet there. Mine is Xander Schauffele.
Well, what the fuck? Well, so actually the hat pretty well aligned. If Ludwig's knee is good to go, then I love the way he sets up.
Yeah.
And if
Xander.
Yeah, Xander.
You know Xander's going to be there. We just don't know how he's going to finish, which we've seen both sides of now.
Oh, I'm looking forward to beating you this week. I'm not going to lie to you.
Cheers to you. Thanks for joining us. Join us again next week for the U.S. Open from Pinehurst number 2. Oh, man, the carnage. I expect a winning score next week of about even par compared to this week. That's going to be nasty. USGA setup. Shout out to everybody who joined us. NorCal, Canada, South Dakota. The hat. All right. You going to be here next week, Connor, for the U.S. Open?
I wouldn't miss it.
All right. Thank you for joining us. Have a great night.